Hi, everybody. This is Tamaya Robles from FixMyCreditNow850.com. And I wanted to do a little video here, a little story time. I wanted to give you guys a situation that I was in personally with regards to my credit and what I needed to do to fix a pretty major situation. So in a nutshell, I own my own home. This is my first home. And before I purchased the home, I was always told to make sure that I pay my mortgage on time. It's critical not to have any latenesses. You don't want to miss a payment. It can totally destroy your credit. And if you ever try to get a house in the future, it will stop that as well. So I already knew that going in. So what I decided to do was have a bank account that was strictly for my mortgage. So every time it was time to pay my mortgage, automatically they would withdraw the funds. So there would be no missed payments, no latenesses. It would be perfect, right? So what I didn't know is that mortgages get transferred to other companies. And what's supposed to happen is when the mortgage gets sold from one company to another, you're supposed to be notified, you're supposed to be informed, and then naturally you would transfer your information and set up your automatic withdrawals to the new bank. The new bank is supposed to give you, I think it's 60 days before they report if you're on time or not, before they report to the credit bureaus. But I wasn't aware of that. And one of the main reasons why I wasn't aware of that is when my mortgage company sold my mortgage to another company, they didn't inform me. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get any letters in the mail. I got no sort of notification. So when it was time for my mortgage payment to be withdrawn from my bank, it was never done. I just assumed the first month it was some sort of fluke, and banks are never wrong in my head. So I'm like, how can you not want money? You're going to definitely get your money. But then the second month went by and nothing. So whatever the situation was, I wound up talking to someone, getting from the banks, and they gave me the information to the new mortgage company. They apologized for not informing me that they sold my mortgage. And then I called and spoke to somebody with the new mortgage, and then they were telling me they never got my information. They never asked me who I was, where I lived at, or anything like that. And they just said, oh, you don't have to pay us for 60 days. And then after 60 days, start paying. So if you want to pay us, you can. If not, you have 60 days not to pay us. And I knew that didn't make sense. But I told the guy, I was like, okay, just send me the new information so I can make a payment. He never did that. On and on. I'm trying to shorten it up as much as possible, but so much happened. Fast forward, I wound up having a 90-day lateness on my credit report regarding my mortgage. So for December, January, and February, they had me at 30 days late. Collectively, it was naturally supposed to be reporting as 90 days late. And like I say in a lot of my videos, if you pay attention to any of my videos or any of my lives, I tell you about 90% of the items that are on your credit report are reporting incorrectly, both positive or negative accounts. So in this case, they had 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, and then they changed it to 30 days, 60 days late, 90 days late. And technically, if you're beyond 90 days late with a mortgage, then you go into foreclosure. The weird thing is they never put me in foreclosure, and here's why. So I also wound up having, at the same time, coincidentally, I had I had an issue with my bank. I didn't notice it because, again, I'm like trusting my bank. It's a neighborhood bank. I never had problems with them before. So what I did was I noticed that when I called the mortgage company, I said, well, why do you guys keep saying I'm missing payments? Like it's an automatic withdrawal. And they're saying, oh no, you didn't pay us. This is in January. You didn't pay us. And they found out that my bank would pay them and then they would return the money. They withdrew the money, and it was strange. So I contacted my bank and I said, what's going on? And they did an investigation, and come to find out, yeah, they were taking money out of my account, not paying my mortgage, not paying them at all. And they had no idea what they did with the money. When I asked them to explain that, like, what do you call that when you do that? What does that mean? They didn't really have an explanation. The lady literally told me, I put it in my complaint. I think the lady literally told me, I can't find it in here. This complaint is too long, but it was basically, she was saying, "Ooh, our bad. Like, we thought we did." That's what she said. She said, "Oh, we thought we paid it." I'm like, "Oh, as a bank, that's what you guys tell people? We thought we paid your mortgage." And so anyway, they wound up giving me my money back. So moving on, one of the critical reasons why I needed my mortgage payments to reflect that they were current, because I was paying the bank sometimes 2-3 times a month, especially when I realized that they were reporting my information as late, as missed payments. And I knew that wasn't true. And I was looking to get another mortgage. I was looking to sell my current house or rent it out and then purchase another home in another state. And I was told by a mortgage lender that if they see, when I go apply for a new mortgage, if they see another mortgage company reflecting latenesses, then I'm going to instantly be rejected for a mortgage. So, me being the master credit repair restoration specialist that I am, I'm like, that's no problem. I can just overturn those latenesses and then apply for a mortgage. But apparently this little birdie, we'll call her a little birdie, this little birdie told me that it's going to be really difficult because the underwriters, when they do a check, they not only look at what's on your credit report, but, and don't quote me on this, I do believe they check with the mortgage lender to make sure in their system that, there were no missed payments, and if there were, they would inform them. So this little birdie basically told me that she's never seen anyone have a mortgage overturn their latenesses. And this little birdie was like, you might be able to get it overturned once, maybe, but not 3 times. Like, that's impossible. So I love a challenge. But I knew I was right, and I knew the bank and the mortgage company were like mad wrong. So I knew I was going to fight. So the purpose of this video is I wanted to share with you guys the reason why you should fight for your credit, to have positive credit. You should fight these bureaus, you should fight these banks, anything that is preventing you from moving forward, not listening to people like the little birdie in my life, that was in my life, stating that, oh, this can't happen. You never know until you try, right? These banks, these lenders, I'm sorry, not the lenders, these banks, these credit bureaus, they don't expect you to fight and know what you're talking about when you do fight. So it's very important to fight. So what happened was I decided to do a standard credit dispute, right? I knew in the back of my head the severity of it, due to the severity of my situation, that a simple credit dispute was not going to overturn these latenesses, as great as I am. The reason why I knew that is because, as I've mentioned again in my videos, that these banks and these credit bureaus are not your friend, they're not in your favor, and they want to see you fail. So, but I needed to create a paper trail. I needed to show that I made attempts to get this issue resolved the standard way. And I was hoping for a rejection letter or a letter saying, oh, we fixed it, and they really didn't. I was expecting to still see these negatives on my credit report, these latenesses, and sure enough, they were on there, and that's what happened. So I then did another dispute letter on purpose, but then I decided to file what's called a CFPB complaint. Some credit repair specialists, they use this method to dispute negative items and do what's called a sweep. I don't sweep. As many of you know, when I do disputes, I'm a factual disputer. I definitely don't do sweeps. However, I do use whatever resources necessary to get more aggressive items or tough items removed from a credit report. So I decided, I did a little research. I even spoke to an attorney, and I stated I was going to file a CFPB complaint. And again, that attorney was basically saying, oh, a CFPB report doesn't do anything, yada, yada, yada. So I wasn't disheartened, but it's good to know and good to hear people that tell you that you can't do something or you shouldn't do something or whatever your efforts are, they're going to be little to no help. That helps me. I don't know about you guys, but like I said, between the little birdie and the attorney, it's basically sounding like I don't have any hope and I can't get this overturned. So I did a little research on the company. I tried to reach out to the president. I did reach out to the president of the mortgage company. The company did an internal investigation 3 times. I had all the proof, all my documents, and they still refused to overturn these latenesses. So I just decided to go the CFPB route. And anyway, regardless of what the little birdie stated, regardless of what the attorney stated, and I was informed that the CFPB reports don't really make that much of a difference. It does force or tries to force the company to acknowledge what they did wrong. And if they don't respond to the CFPB, what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to get some sort of penalty. But that's pretty much it. I knew filing a BBB, Better Business Bureau complaint, that was going to do little to nothing. I'm like, they were saying so with the CFPB, but I was like, let me try it anyway. If it didn't work, I know there's another step I can take as well, and I was more than willing to take that. It's just that the results take a little longer. Anywho, so I did file a CFPB complaint. I wound up having to file a CFPB complaint against my bank and also with my mortgage company. The reason why I did it with my bank is because they were both working hand in hand. The issues were combined. My local bank was taking my money on more than one occasion and alleging they were paying my mortgage, and they really weren't. And then the mortgage company, even though I was paying within those 3 months, 3 times that mortgage, the mortgage company still kept stating that I was missing a payment. So again, just so we're perfectly clear, my personal bank was taking money and not paying my mortgage. I was paying my mortgage sometimes twice a month or 3 times a month, so I would not become late. Mortgage company reported me as late either way, just so we're clear. So I made sure I had all the documentation. I wrote down everybody's name that I spoke to between the banks and the mortgage company. And sometimes I'm not always organized when it comes to that. However, I discovered by law that anytime you call a mortgage company, they have to record every single phone call. So it's supposed to be, so for proof. One of the times I did kind of leave this out in January. I spoke to a rep with the mortgage company, and she literally solved the problem. And she was like, oh, it looks like your bank paid us and then took the money out. And I do see you paid us twice this month. And don't worry, I'll overturn your lateness for December in the system. I'll overturn your lateness for January. And I was like, well, we're going into February. Like, what about February? And so she was like, oh, don't worry. Like, she's telling me this all on the phone. I was like, okay, cool. I said, I got the money. Like, I'll pay you more. I just don't need these latenesses. I need them flipped. So she was like, oh, she said in the phone call, don't worry, you don't have to do that. I got you. And then it was crazy. Apparently, when I was filing a dispute and I was calling the mortgage company to get the name and number, time, and dates of my communication with them, I was stressing that phone call. I had it written down. It was told to me that that woman was a supervisor. Come to find out, she was not. I was told that that particular phone call was recorded. Come to find out, it was recorded, but since I was filing disputes, they magically could not find that recording, and therefore my case was not proven. So anytime the bank did the internal investigation, I brought that phone call up, they were saying it doesn't exist. I found out through an attorney that that was an illegal transaction. I could have situation, and I could have sued them. I didn't. I don't have time to sue these people. I was just trying to get another mortgage. Fast forward again. So I filed a CFPB complaint. So this is the final result. I filed a CFPB complaint. The process is you file a complaint, and within 15 days, they are supposed to, the bank, whoever you're filing a complaint against is supposed to respond. If 15 days pass with no response at all, then that company has to pay some sort of fine or penalty, if you want to believe that. Normally what happens is within that 15 days, if that company doesn't resolve the issue, they'll respond to the CFPB and say, hey, we're working on it. We need more time, which is fine. So the CFPB will say, cool, you have 60 days. And then after that, we're expecting some sort of solution. And then they tell you that. They tell you as the consumer, or me, that's what they told me. So I was like, all right, cool. Even though it's crunch time for me, I really need a mortgage. I need another house ASAP. It's like, I was kind of desperate. All right, cool. So apparently, and I'm going to show you guys proof. I'm going to show you, I'm going to leave up my complaints with both the bank and the mortgage company, my complete dispute with the CFPB and their results. So within that, it didn't even take 60 days. I do believe it took maybe 30, 35 days for the bank, for the mortgage company to finally complete their so-called investigation. And the end result was that they overturned all 3 of my latenesses, not just on my credit report, but within the system. Not 1, not 2, but all 3 of them. So the odd thing was, I was able to see the change on my credit report. I checked my FICO and I checked Credit Karma. I'm checking anywhere and everywhere, Smart Credit, any place that had my credit report, because I was so surprised. Because remember, I was told by someone that I trusted that this never happens. You can only get 1 done, and good luck with that. You know what I'm saying? So, and it actually happened, and it happened in a short period of time. So that was pretty shocking, and I just wanted to make sure it was real. I'm confident in what I do. I just, between the little birdie and the attorney and the information I saw, it looked like the odds were stacked against me, and going the CFPB route was not going to be successful, and I would have to take a much more aggressive direction with both the bank and specifically the mortgage company, and I didn't have to do that. So all of the third-party sites that had my credit report, it did show that the latenesses were overturned and my credit score naturally went up. Not a big deal, but it went up, because you have to think over time those latenesses were aging, and when latenesses age, they become less and less impactful on your credit score. But you still want to get them removed, especially if it's through with a mortgage. And so I went to apply for another mortgage, and then they instantly rejected me because for whatever reason, I knew it was off, but I guess they still saw it or something, somehow, some way. And they were like, hey, can you just show us proof that from the mortgage company that this is overturned? And again, these banks, these lenders are not your friend. They're not going to voluntarily give you a letter and say, oh, we messed up. We see that you paid us 2-3 times in 1 month, and we purposefully did not report it on your credit report. Like, I told the lender, you're not going to get that. Like, you can call them directly. They'll tell you it's overturned, but to actually put it in writing and admit you're wrong, that's not going to happen, especially not when you want it. So anyway, I got pre-approved either way. But then all of a sudden, I did get a letter directly from the mortgage company. The mortgage company responded to the CFPB. And again, I have this information right here. You can't really see it because like the lighting is crazy, but again, I'm gonna post it. They wrote a long, I want to say like speech. That's why I posted. Like, if you want to read all of the details, you can. It's a nice read. I mean, it's a nice little lengthy read. But what they did was they basically repeated a lot of what I said in my complaint. And they started making up things that weren't true, right? Where it was almost like, I'm not going to admit that I'm wrong. We're not going to admit that we did anything wrong. This is probably what happened. Like, they gave excuses and everything. End result, they're like, so what we're going to do for you, what we're going to do is we're just going to overturn all of these latenesses, and our apologies for any inconvenience. And me being the rebel that I am, it's like, I totally want to fight and be like, that's not true, and you're making this up. But every battle is not meant to be won as long as you win the war, right? Cool. So I won that war. But they just made up some stuff. So whatever got the job done. So they did put it in writing that it was overturned, but the mortgage company had already approved me. Everything I showed them was facts, so that was cool. But I just, again, wanted to do a video and just explain the importance of fighting, and the importance of not listening to what everyone has to say, even if people are saying, hey, this is my profession, I've been doing this for X amount of years, I've never seen this happen. I'm good at what I do. I did my CFPB in a certain way. Just like when I do disputes for credit, I don't do disputes like everyone else. So I know I have more of a fighting chance because I know the type of results I give others, and I can give it for myself. But just don't listen to people when they try to tell you, I've never seen it before, it's not happening, but good luck. Usually those are people that are silently like hoping that you fail. And even if you're talking to attorneys as well, like, they, believe it or not, do the same thing a credit repair specialist does. They don't do any factual disputing at all. So sometimes people, including attorneys, just give wrong information, and you have to kind of learn to just go past that and say, I'm going to try anyway. And this is what happens when you try. This is what happens when you don't give up. This wasn't even long and drawn out. I wrote a very lengthy, detailed complaint. And I know the CFPB has complaints all the time, and mine could have been, I don't know, brushed off on the side, but it wasn't. But ruffle feathers, man, piss people off, irritate people, fight for your credit, fight for your family, fight for yourself. Don't just roll over, and second guess the people that you might trust or you assume is your friend and is supportive of you. Even your attorneys, like sometimes they're not in your favor. I've gone to court with people and I've seen the attorney literally high five their client and give them a wonderful plan of action, go before the judge next to the the plaintiff, and I've seen them basically flip sides. I've seen them throw their clients under the bus in front of the judge. Like, you have to do what you have to do for yourself and what's best for you, because more than likely it's going to work. So I don't want to sound like I'm rambling, but I just wanted to do that little story time or whatever. Just, I can't stress enough, fight for your credit. Sometimes when I post in groups and I'm showing results and I'm telling people what I can do, there's like 20 people behind that post saying that's not true, you can do it yourself. Good luck, you know what I'm saying? But fight. Those are people that they don't know about fighting. But anyway, that's pretty much it. If you need help, if you want me to fix your credit, I got to put my plug in. If you're trying to fix your credit, go to fixmycreditnow850.com, schedule a free consultation. If you want to learn how to do a CFPB complaint, let me know. Again, this is my business, this is a service, so the majority of the things that I do is going to cost you something, unless it's free information that I'm giving, free letters or something like that, and that's usually on my website. But definitely reach out. Hopefully you guys have learned something from this video. Again, just fight and don't listen to just anybody. Do your own little research, ask questions, ask the right questions, and then still make an effort. Other than that, you guys have a great week, and hopefully I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.